She was a whirlwind, a force of nature. I had never met anyone like her. Her eyes held a depth of emotion that both captivated and terrified me. We connected on a level I thought only existed in poetry. She was everything I had ever wanted, or so I thought. The intensity of her affection was intoxicating. We were inseparable. She consumed my thoughts, my dreams, my very being. It felt like destiny, like we were two halves finally made whole. I was drowning in the depths of her love, and I was terrified to come up for air. Looking back, it's hard to discern where love ended and the chaos began. The lines blurred so quickly. I was caught in a riptide, pulled further and further from the shore of reality, and I was too enthralled to even try to swim. The first crack in her perfect facade was subtle, a flash of anger over something insignificant, a cutting remark disguised as a joke. I brushed it off, attributing it to her passionate nature. But deep down, a seed of unease had been planted. Her moods became increasingly unpredictable. Moments of intense joy could turn to rage in an instant. I walked on eggshells, never knowing what would trigger her next outburst. Her love felt conditional, a prize to be earned and easily revoked. I found myself making excuses for her behavior, to myself, to our friends, to her family. I told myself she was just going through a tough time, that she just needed my love and support. But the truth was, I was starting to feel trapped. Arguments became our norm. Explosive, draining, and always my fault. She would twist my words, accusing me of things I never said or did. It was like trying to reason with a hurricane, futile and terrifying. These arguments weren't just verbal. She would throw things, punch walls, and once, she even threw a glass across the room. It narrowly missed my head. The fear in her eyes after these episodes was quickly replaced by a cold detachment, as if nothing had happened. The physical manifestations of her anger were terrifying, but it was the emotional abuse that left the deepest scars. The constant accusations, the belittling comments, the threats of self-harm if I ever left. I was losing myself in the storm of her emotions. Trust, once the foundation of our relationship, crumbled away. I discovered she had been stealing money from me, small amounts at first, then larger sums. When confronted, she denied everything. Then she blamed me for not trusting her. The lies became a constant current, pulling me further into the abyss. She would invent stories about her past, her family, even our own relationship. It was as if she was trying to rewrite our history, to fit a narrative that only existed in her mind. The betrayal cut deep. It wasn't just about the money. It was about the violation of trust, the manipulation, the utter disregard for my feelings. I was starting to realize that this wasn't love. This was something far more sinister. It wasn't just our relationship that was affected. Her disorder started to seep into every aspect of my life. She would isolate me from my friends and family, accusing them of not understanding her or our relationship. Then came the strangers, people she met online or on the street. She would invite them into our home, sharing intimate details of our lives. It felt like an invasion, a violation of our privacy. My home, once my sanctuary, had become a stage for her drama. I felt suffocated, trapped in a world of her making. The walls were closing in and I was running out of air. I knew I had to escape, but the fear of her reaction, the fear of being alone, kept me tethered to her. Gaslighting became her most insidious weapon. She would deny things that had happened, twist events to fit her narrative, and make me question my own sanity. It was a slow and insidious erosion of my self-worth. You're imagining things. You're too sensitive. You're making this up. These phrases became her mantra. She was so convincing, so sure of herself that I started to doubt my own memories, my own perceptions. I felt like I was going crazy, like I was losing my grip on reality. I was exhausted, emotionally drained, a shell of the person I used to be. It was in those moments of utter despair that I realized I had to choose myself. I had to choose to survive. The breaking point came unexpectedly. It was a seemingly insignificant argument, but something inside me snapped. I couldn't do it anymore. The constant chaos, the manipulation, the fear. I had reached my limit. I told her it was over. The words felt foreign on my lips, but also liberating. Her reaction was explosive, a torrent of rage, threats, and pleas. But for the first time, I didn't react. I had finally found my voice, and I wasn't going to be silenced. Leaving wasn't easy. It was a long and arduous process, filled with guilt, doubt, and fear. But with each step away from her, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. I was finally free. Section 8. Picking up the pieces. The aftermath of the relationship was a blur. I was emotionally and physically exhausted. The process of healing was slow and painful, like picking up the shattered pieces of myself and trying to put them back together. Therapy was my lifeline. It provided a safe space to process the trauma, to understand the complexities of BPD, and to forgive myself for staying as long as I did. I had to mourn the relationship, but more importantly, I had to rediscover myself. It was a long and arduous journey, but with each passing day, I felt my strength returning. I learned to set boundaries, to trust my instincts, and to prioritize my own well-being. I was no longer a victim. I was a survivor. Section 9. Scars and wisdom. The scars of that relationship will always be a part of me, but they are a reminder of my resilience, my capacity for love, and my unwavering spirit. I emerged from the wreckage stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever to live a life filled with authenticity and joy. I learned that love should never come at the cost of your own well-being. That setting boundaries is not selfish, it's essential. And that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from someone you love for the sake of your own sanity and survival. The experience taught me the importance of self-love, the power of forgiveness, and the transformative nature of healing. It was a painful lesson, but one that ultimately led me to a place of greater understanding, compassion, and peace. Section 10. A plea for understanding. Borderline personality disorder is a complex mental illness that often carries a heavy stigma. It's easy to judge, to label, to write someone off based on their behavior, but behind the anger, the fear, the manipulation, lies a deep well of pain. People with BPD are often misunderstood. They are not bad people. They are hurting people, desperately trying to cope with overwhelming emotions and a distorted sense of self. They need love, support, and professional help, not judgment or condemnation. My experience taught me the importance of empathy, of trying to understand the world through someone else's eyes, even when their actions seem irrational or hurtful. It's a reminder that we never truly know what someone else is going through, and that compassion is always the answer. Section 11. Finding hope. My story is not unique. Countless individuals have endured the pain and trauma of a relationship with someone who has BPD. But there is hope, there is healing, and there is life after abuse. If you are in a relationship with someone who has BPD, please know that you are not alone. Reach out for help, educate yourself about the disorder, set boundaries, and most importantly, prioritize your own well-being. You deserve to be loved, respected, and cherished. My journey taught me that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit has an incredible capacity for resilience, growth, and love. It's a reminder that we are all works in progress, capable of overcoming adversity and creating a brighter future for ourselves and those around us. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to our channel for more content on mental health and personal growth. Your support means the world to us.